A photographer, an art teacher, and children with autism spent a day together learning about themselves, inside and out, through photography and painting.
Well, today I'm helping facilitate this project, Me, Myself, and I, and we're working with students to talk about identity. And so I start off with talking to them a little bit, meeting them, what they want to project to the world, and I do a quick portrait of them. They're not still for long, so it's got to be fast. And I print the photograph, and Melissa starts doing a lesson with the children based on the photograph, and they have a mirror, and she teaches them how to do watercolor self-portraits.
Melissa Bradshaw, an art teacher, liked the idea of giving the students a chance to interpret how they believe they look and learning about themselves in the process.
It's never been the product that's been important. It's always been the step-by-step process. So the kids are learning a lot as we're going through the process, but they're also learning a lot about themselves, especially just, when we talk about color, it's not necessarily using realistic colors, and we're looking at Picasso and how he interprets portraits and things like that, maybe color based on emotion. And so it really, it lets them have a freedom that they don't have in other areas, and it makes them feel successful, and they can think outside the box. I teach self-portraits all the time to my students, so it's a wonderful thing for children because it's what they know the most, is being able to sort of look inside and really think about themselves and express themselves, which is so important, and their uniqueness. That's what we're celebrating, their uniqueness.
The arts are important for all children, but as Beth Bogush, Executive Director of the Children's Fine and Performing Arts Foundation, explains, even more so for children with autism.
Autistic children really tap into that because, a lot of them are nonverbal. A lot of them have sensory issues, and the arts allows them to find something that might open a pathway for them. And as we saw today, we did our big art project. Every child approached it a different way. Some of the children absolutely loved to see their photograph. Some children loved the texture of the paint and how the strokes looked on the paper. They loved to connect that, what they saw in the picture to what they saw on the page. And we were very surprised that we had such a diverse group of children, and yet they all came with different levels on the spectrum, and yet they all were able to complete a picture of a portrait of who they were.
I believe that for autistic children, it really fulfills a need that they're not getting elsewhere, because a lot of times communication is a struggle. A lot of times socially they struggle. So they can talk about their artwork with their peers. It gives them confidence. So socially it helps them. And it also really, it makes them feel like they've accomplished something and feel successful with it, which is highly important.
Both Lisa Riddle's children are participating in the Me, Myself, and I project. She feels this is important for their growth.
We were grateful for any opportunity to involve the kids in an art project that is not about the product, but rather the process, something that engaged them and helped self-expression for the kids, because in schools they often don't get that opportunity. It's all about what they can create based on what the other kids are creating. So we love an opportunity for them to have something that is just their own, with no pressure and no expectations.
This art process is really involving cognitive thought, looking inward, exploring who you are and expressing that to the world in a way that they usually don't get to do. So I think it's very important.
How many things do we do in our own lives that are creative and exciting, and so many of our kids feel the pressure, the internal pressure to be perfect. So if we can let them see art early as something that's a process, then they're much more likely to engage in it later on and find things that they can do for relaxation, for jobs, within their own lives. It can give them much more joy in their lives.
And on this day, there was joy all around.